Hi there. Welcome back to our Time Management for Pastors course, Effectively Managing the Ultimate Resource. Today we're going to talk about keeping a planner, something that we may have been resistant to in the past with the express purpose of feeling like it's constrictive or so on and so forth. But I am going to encourage you in today's lesson to talk about or to think about keeping a planner as one of the unquestionably important situations in a pastor's life. So again, we'll remind you that we start today talking about keeping a planner, and then we'll talk about taking weekly assessments or time to review priorities, and then investing in our leadership, our delegation, and the tyranny of the urgent, or figuring out how to prioritize what's urgent versus what's important, people versus tasks, the importance of self-time or taking care of yourself, and finally the Christian habit tracker, and finally talking about focus, what steals your time. So all of these things are of critical importance and vital importance in your ability to manage your time. And so that brings us to the powerful tool of a planner. There are all sorts of planners that are there, but I want you to make very sure in your mind that you understand how valuable it can be to use these planners to most effectively use your time. Now, I want to point out that you can find a planner with many different makes and models, and some systems are different than others, but they are all very, very valuable. And the great thing about the modern world of kind of planners and time management is that you can find one that really fits your style, fits your schedule. And this is of the utmost importance. Every single church ministry is unique. Every single minister is unique. Every single situation or ministry situation, whether it's, again, missions, parachurch, or church, is always going to be unique in the types of things that demand time. And therefore, it'll be of the utmost importance for us to come to the understanding of how to most effectively manage our time. So the first thing we'll talk about is a monthly planner. And again, you can find a planner or various kinds of planners that have all of these elements. And I'll propose another opportunity or option for you in the end of, or as we get towards the end of this module. But I do want to be extraordinarily clear that your successful planning will probably involve all of these elements. So the first one is that monthly planner. Now, this might be a calendar on your wall. It might be, I just gestured to my calendar on my wall as if you could see it. You can't, but it's there. It could be a desk calendar that lies out and you jot in important dates, times, and events. It could be something that you're utilizing, again, that is a preset planner of some kind that has this function, but I want to encourage you to use it. The monthly planner is helpful for writing out all of the different appointments and camps or speaking opportunities or conferences or whatever it is, to block off time so that you know what to put into your following weekly calendars or weekly time. It helps you to write out long-term or distant forecasting of engagements, of commitments that are important to you. So that monthly calendar is mostly going to be, as you see here, something that is a calendar arranged in days and months, and then with the ability to write in, this is happening on this day, my wife's birthday, my anniversary is on this date, and so on and so forth, so that you don't lose track of those important events that slip away from us, right? We get caught in the day, we get caught in the week, we get caught in the moment, and we forget what, to look ahead and forecast at what's ahead for us. It's really an important point in coming to be effective, so that we don't let those distant commitments either fall to the wayside or confuse us. Now, the next issue is the weekly planner. You're going to want to have something that allows you to look at weeks as a whole. And by the way, isn't it wonderful that it was God himself who broke time up into years, into months, and into days, or weeks and into days? This is showing us that we need units, right? Smaller units to deal with these issues and to manage time effectively. And praise the Lord, he's the one who gave us days, according according to the sun and the moon. He's the one who gave us weeks according to the dictation of the creation week, the 7-day week. He is the one who gave us months, and granted, we structure that differently, but according to the moon and the issues that go on there, right? He is the one who gave us these times and these seasons and these dates, and so we are going to capitalize on those distinctions that God made by ordering effectively. Your weekly planner, in my view, should be, and there's various, again, opportunities to find or create something that fits your needs, but should involve some overview of what is going to happen in every given week. And I'll encourage you to take time each week to say what's going to happen this week, what is going to fit into this week before, and if you're a pastor especially, maybe different for different parachurch ministries, you'll find that your week in some level might have a rhythm to it, right? For me, most times it is working towards Wednesday night service, and then there's kind of a dip, and then working towards Sunday morning service. And wherever you plan your time off and all that will probably react to those needs. So a weekly planner that helps you keep track of appointments and is more specific than your monthly planner is kind of a nice workflow. Moving from the week or the monthly planner, being able to go back and check, what do I have this week on my monthly planner? Okay, it's this, and that. I'm going to move that, transfer that to my weekly planner, which makes it easier to look at. And finally, we get to a daily planner. And you might find a way to incorporate all these things, especially with technology, into a perfectly seamless system. And I highly recommend trying to find such a system that works for you. I will give my recommendation, at least as a place to start, but something that looks at your day hour by hour, right? Just as a person can lose weight simply by counting their calories, not even really affect anything, just taking note of your intake, and a person can improve their financial status simply by just allocating where every dollar went. You just, by knowing where they go, you go, oh, I can't believe I was losing money there. So it is with time. Being able to account for every hour of your time, not in some legalistic, fearful fashion, but just to recognize, what did I do? What happened? What is chipping away is going to be an important metric for understanding, and especially for planning, because especially as pastoral leadership involves so many tasks that aren't necessarily tied to a second or a moment on your calendar, it's valuable to be able to look at your schedule and say, okay, I have this appointment, that leaves that much physical space in my planner, and therefore that many hours to help me work through this situation. Next, we have your to-do list, and your pastoral to-do list is of similar fashion. It gives you that ability to write down all those tasks that don't necessarily have a specific place on your calendar, but are of incredible importance, because if you don't complete tasks, right, you're going to be ineffective. So to have a to-do list, and we'll talk about later how to prioritize that to-do list and discern what you really want to invest in. Next, I want to note that there are physical paper planners as well as electronic planners, and both have a remarkable ability to serve you. Maybe you're a person who works life from your phone. How could we not, with all that convenience? And if you do work life from your phone, then there are things like Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, and Microsoft services that all offer kind of mainstream abilities to do that. And then there's smaller apps and things that are available that you can look for on your own in order to find one that perfectly works for you. But there's so many different ability or resources to work on this that I think it'd be foolish not to take advantage of them. And I want to recognize one that has been most effective in my life, and that is the Simple Composition Book. The size of the composition book and the portability and also the affordability of it has been the most important tool in my personal ability or growth in personal time management. So this starts with a monthly layout where you write out the days of the week on one side and the the numbered days, the dates, if you like, and then write out all of the different appointments, things that I have scheduled, birth dates, and so on and so forth. Everything that I try to fit in there in that monthly layout. Now you might ask, doesn't it take a bunch of extra time to write that out when you can find something else? Yes, it does. But for me, it helps me understand, feel as if I've got control over it, not control in the hubris sense, but a sense of influence on what's going on. So that's why I prefer to write it all out myself. Plus, it fits exactly what I want. Next, you'll see a weekly layout. Now, for me, this is the weekly layout on the right-hand side. So you've got maybe a little bit difficult to see, but you get the idea. You get each day, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, going down, and then split into 3 lines, and each line split into 3 groups. More on that just a little bit later. But each of these an opportunity to fill in a block of time with a certain task. And then on the left side, we see this opportunity to write my most critical, important tasks, my different ministries that I'm involved with and that I'm able to, that I work on. So that I can separate the tasks that need to be done for that ministry, for that cause, for that purpose. And all of that, for me, helps hold it all together so that I'm able to look at and say, oh, here's all these spaces over here, so I can put this in that space and that in this space and so on and so forth, to recognize what is ultimately the illusion of the pastor, is that we think we're so busy. And so we spend all of our time thinking we're so busy, and we neglect to realize that there are spaces and there is time in our schedule. This weekly layout, again, just to show more clearly, like every week, my sermons, no question, I wanted to make in the week of the 24th, this time management class as I developed it. So I just wrote that down and keep writing that down. Now, you'll notice in this week, I did finish my sermon, because I'd never not finished my sermon. But I was not able to produce this video or this devotional that I'm working on. And so those have little arrows. It's saying I wrote it down, but I wasn't able to complete it, so I moved it forward to another week. And again, that weekly layout, as I see it, is most effectively these days each have a morning, afternoon, and evening block, and I break those into 3 blocks in order to fit in the various tasks that might fit. And that gets to one of the biggest ways of thinking that I think is really critical. First of all, looking at your day in 3 sections or thirds. The 7 a.m., this is one that my dad taught me years ago, and it's always served me. 7 a.m. or so till 12 p.m. is morning, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. is afternoon, and 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. is evening. And in general, I would encourage you to think of giving 2/3 of your day and not more to ministry. There's going to be some days where that's unavoidable, but by and large, if you're able to spend 2/3 of your day, in this sense, in kind of church work, service related tasks, and the other third in the other in personal and family and so forth, you're at least going to keep the incredible creep factor in ministry from destroying or taking over everything in your life. So your assignment for this week is to share a picture, a screenshot, or a file of your upcoming week and the option that best suits your personality and ministry. Maybe you go and find a written, or maybe you use Google Calendar, which again has a lot of possibilities, or the various resources by Microsoft, Apple, or one of the others, but I encourage you to write out, take a picture, screenshot, or file in some way, and let me and submit that so that we can interact a little bit with your early attempts at doing that and fitting it to your specific needs and life. So with that, I hope that you are moving forward and encouraged in this course. I hope that you become more effective as a time manager and recognize that putting things on paper, externalizing them this way, is one of the most effective ways to come to a sense of confidence and control of your schedule. May God richly bless you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.